Welcome back, everyone. This is Mike ZEROH here once again. If you guys are new here to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Today, we are discussing Star Wars The Last Jedi when it comes to Padme and Kylo Ren. Today we have Vahn, one of my good friends. Welcome, Vahn.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Pretty good. Now, when we look at Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, they unveiled the Darth Vader castle scene.
Yeah. And
within
it was great to see, man. Like,
yeah,
the long put out concept art about this castle from Ralph McQuarrie, and now we finally get to see it on the big screen. That was great fan service, man. It was finally great to see that on the big screen.
And you got the tank.
Yeah,
all these things were just so amazing to see on the screen for once.
Visually beautiful, man. Visually beautiful.
Now, I think that one of the biggest questions when it comes to Kylo Ren, since he's so obsessed with his grandfather,
right,
is we do know that he has this idea of him. He's inspired by him.
Yes.
And I made a video a couple months ago about, if Darth Vader ever found Padme's grave on Naboo.
Yeah, and that video kept getting me thinking about it, man. And it's such a deep cut, but it's like, that's such a big question, and you would wonder why he wouldn't do it. All these people that say that he wouldn't do it, I believe he would, man. It's just too important to just leave that part of his life behind.
Absolutely. So, Vahn,
yes,
let's discuss this. So, do you think there's a possibility that if Darth Vader were to have discovered Padme's grave on Naboo,
yes,
could he have brought that back to his castle on
yes,
Mustafar?
Yes,
and eventually Kylo Ren discovering his grandmother's grave.
I would actually think that would be really awesome, and I think it actually could happen, because I actually made a video topic about it, expanding on the idea about, did Vader visit Padme's tomb, and then my friend, pun intended, Mike, actually brought that question up to me, and I was like, wow, like, how awesome would that be? And also, as your video discussed, if Vader was to go to Padme's tomb, he would do it under the fact of Palpatine, under Palpatine's nose. He wouldn't let Palpatine figure out that this was happening. So if that was to happen, and if he was to bring Padme to Mustafar, he would still do it under Palpatine's nose, and I feel like yes, that would actually go down, because as you said in the previous video, she was a big part of why he became Darth Vader. His love for her and the corruption that he went through with Palpatine brought that dark side out of him, and I feel like it's just too important to just leave that behind. So I feel like, yes, if we get to see that, it totally makes sense, and I would be so for it, and it would make Darth Vader such a deeper character than we had already seen him. And
You're totally right.
And make Kylo Ren so much more interested in that part of Vader's life, because we know that Kylo is in between the light and the dark at the moment. He's powerful.
Right, it's
both.
the perfect sculpture in Snoke's perspective.
Exactly.
Light and dark.
So, I would, all the, people saying that Kylo just wants to be Darth Vader. Like, he does, but at the same time, I don't think he would just ignore the light side of Anakin. I think he would be interested as to why Anakin, his grandfather, became Darth Vader, and I feel like to learn about the history with his grandmother would be so much more important. And I feel like...
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like it would be... I think he would be actually interested in finding out who his grandmother was. And
it is a question. Does he wonder,
I'm sure he does, because I think... we talk about how we believe that in Episode 8, we're going to see Kylo have a Force-backed vision by touching one of Vader's relics, whether it be his mask or his rumored lightsaber.
Yes.
If he saw the Force-back of Anakin's story, I guarantee you we would actually see Padme in one of those short clips, because I feel that because she's so important in his turn to the dark side, I think Ben would be very interested into seeing how she was sort of aiding him to become Darth Vader, and I think that would be so horrific, but also so exciting to see him experience through his own eyes.
And you know, if they were to have Padme's grave in Darth Vader's castle, and let's say Kylo Ren is to go to Mustafar in The Last Jedi, that to me just tells me that he's going to Darth Vader's castle, because we have heard from previous leaks that Mustafar will be one of the returning planets in the sequel trilogy. I don't know if you heard about this, Vahn, but...
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it totally makes sense. About...
I just feel like they're not going to save that for Episode 9, given the second film in the sequel trilogy is aimed as the darkest film.
It's the darkest film. It's the one that raises the most questions. It's the one that's supposed to give you the most tension and the most anxiety going into it, because it's supposed to set up the finale, and I feel like in order to set up a good finale, you need great tension, and I feel like this...
Spot on.
Yeah, and I feel like this would be such an added layer to it. And this brings up the question as well. We know that Luke burned Vader's body on Endor.
Correct.
We never, unless it's in the non-canon books or non-canon material, but we in the movies still don't know what happened to Darth Vader's body. Did it burn all the way? We don't know. Is the remains of his body still on Endor? How did Kylo come in contact with the mask? How did he obtain Vader's mask? Is there a possibility that Darth Vader is also buried in the Mustafar castle? Who's to say both grandmother and grandfather aren't tombs underneath the castle, which Kylo goes to worship, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that's not possible?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it just raises more questions, and I think it makes Ben such a more interesting character than he already was, because it gives so many more layers to him as he's trying to figure out the heritage of his family, and I feel like, and the lineage that he comes from, and I feel like in learning the history through the Force back visions and everything, it's going to make him even more obsessed, even more driven to honor what his grandfather was.
See, the thing is, what I love about Kylo Ren is it seems like, from what they're making him out to be, is this real complex character with a lot of internal problems, you know? He doesn't know where he's going. As we saw, you know, he thought killing his own father would strengthen him, but he found himself weakened, as it says in the novelization.
Right.
So, you know, it's like, which path exactly is Kylo Ren going?
Right.
And I think that's the biggest question, you know?
Mm-hmm. And there was a great quote from Adam Driver on the special features, the documentary, The Secrets of the Force Awakens, which I like to read here, is that Adam Driver talks about Kylo Ren's character in that there's nothing more powerful than genetics. If you really imagine the stakes of him in his youth and having all these special powers and having your parents kind of be absent during that process on their own agendas, equally as selfish, he's lost in the world that he was raised in and feels like he was kind of abandoned by the people he was closest with. He's angry because of that, and he has a huge grudge on his shoulders. So I feel like if Kylo wants to learn about his grandfather even more and possibly learn about Padme, maybe he's trying to connect with them because he couldn't connect with the parents that weren't around for him.
Yes, we do know he was neglected by Han and Leia, so that would definitely make a lot of sense. And I think overall in The Last Jedi, if we are to go to Mustafar, which I do believe this is where we are heading, it could even be a part of completing his training, as Snoke said. It's possible.
Yes, because we've heard a lot
learning
of rumors.
more about his grandfather and understanding who he was, and I think that if he were to discover Padme's grave there and learn more about his grandmother, I think that would be a very interesting piece of Kylo Ren.
Indeed. So. And all the rumors, and there's some rumors even going out that maybe Vader's castle is where Snoke trains him. Like, who knows?
Yes,
because
we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. There's also a lot of rumors that Snoke is going to train Kylo in a dark side nexus, and I feel like the castle would be a dark side nexus with all the brutal stuff that we don't even know what happened there occurred, because Vader's castle is even a place where Vader would bring his prisoners to torture them and kill them. So it's actually, you know, there's a lot more to look into this than just meets the eye, I think.
Very, very good, yeah.
Yes.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
Oh.
and and the fact that he is neglected by all these people, and we should also mention that I think he's very much he feels like he's neglected by his uncle Luke, the Jedi Master that I'm sure at one point he did look up to, and while going to this school, I was talking to my friend about this. Going to the Jedi Academy, I felt like Luke, even though he was an uncle, had to be a teacher first. And I felt like he felt neglected because he wasn't treated, especially in front of the other students. He was just treated like another student, and he probably didn't get along with any of the other students that were there. So he felt like
That's a very interesting
and I'm
thought
sure
you have there, because that makes a lot of sense.
And I'm sure when he was first going to go to Luke's Academy, I'm sure he was a little sad that he had to leave his parents, but at the same time, he was kind of happy. He's going to learn the ways of the Force. He's going to become a Jedi like his uncle. But he feels neglected in the sense that he didn't have this special treatment, and he was
special treatment. Right.
Yeah, and he was treated like other students, and I felt like that was also another drive for him to destroy the Academy, because he felt like his uncle didn't live up to his expectations either.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for today.
Yeah, it was great.
Very interesting discussion, for sure. I mean, all these things that we may be delivered in The Last Jedi, I think, is just going to really make Kylo Ren as a character more in-depth.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so, guys, I want to hear from each and every one of you. What do you think about all of this? Would we see Padme's grave in Darth Vader's castle? Could we see that Kylo Ren even felt neglected by his uncle Luke Skywalker, the Jedi Master? Drop a comment below, let us know. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. And go ahead and check out Vahn's channel. It will be linked below in the description. And yeah, say goodbye, Vahn.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike, and goodbye, everyone.
See you guys later.